And hello out there to everyone. I figured I've been spinning my head and maybe some other heads around in circles lately with some crazy ideas and wild theories and really digging into new learning and fun stuff, all while maintaining all the other exciting stuff that I like to do, such as making music and, well, recording a good old-fashioned podcast. I'm lining up a guest or two here and there. Honestly, I don't mind talking to myself, but at the same time, it's fun to talk to other people, and the more you investigate podcasts, the more you realize how many different types of podcasts there really are. And that's the fun part. I try to bring a diverse style to things. When I was just doing podcasting alone, and I had an account through Spotify and stuff, people would always complain that my ideas were too varied. And I said, well, I'm a creative person doing a podcast. It's not, it's not true crime or something. It has elements of a lot of things to it, and that's the exciting part of learning and being a curious and creative person. And I like to share that. That's, why I do what I do. This is the kind of thing that you have to have a passion for, and you practice at it, and some moments are better than others. Sometimes you talk too fast, sometimes you talk too slow. You never know what's going to happen, which can be more exciting with other people. When I have ideas that I want to develop that are beyond something that's just conversational, I like to do more than just a podcast episode. This to me is like a regular podcast. This is just something simple where I can talk to you, take the makeup off, so to speak, or whatever, take the wig off, I don't know, whatever. But I love wearing wigs. That's one thing that I enjoy about acting, is I get to, and why I'm actually grateful for, I held out for a while with hair thinning and all that crap, so hey, it is what it is. I just look a little more stoic now, I guess. But when I'm doing acting stuff with friends and we're just having a good time, it's fun to wear a wig. You get to kind of be a different character. Changing certain things of your appearance can help you get into character a lot too. I believe it was something I read by the guy from The Big Lebowski, Jeff Bridges, and he said that one acting trick or method he uses, you could call it, is having certain objects that the character has that makes, humans, we tend to have our favorite, bathrobe, our favorite necklaces, our favorite, just random items. And I guess he uses that kind of stuff to bring into his character. But, why do I do this? Well, not everything's going to yield profits necessarily, and there's different things to gain. I find ways to make money, so I don't need to make money off my creativity in this sense necessarily. I've made money off of books and different things over the years, but that's one thing that the podcast and the other videos and creative stuff that I've done have been great for, is being able to promote my ideas. And along the way, just recently, for the 10-year anniversary of my first official published book, New Stone, that was, I received a few orders for that, so that was very nice. It's very kind of you to do that. And I'm not a pusher. I've been around too many people in my life that are pushy, and it doesn't feel right. I know that there's many options in life, and there's many things to come, and relying on certain sources for an income, though I don't mind, a small amount of trouble or danger in life. When you have a family, you have to kind of consider things a little differently. So to me, more than just a hobby, it's a part of myself. I guess that's what would differentiate it from, say, watching sports or playing video games. Two things that are very comprehensive in their nature, but there's there's really nowhere to escape to, I find, because if you get into something, you're not, what are we escaping? Just because we're focusing our attention somewhere else doesn't mean things have changed. So I always say that what I've learned from this process of creating things and just being involved in so many different avenues of creativity, some people would say, too many irons in the fire. I don't really give a shit. I believe that being interested in one art will help you seg you into another. I grew up being interested in martial arts, and then I became more interested in music. And then all throughout this, I think I started being a writer. The first book I created was when I was in, might have been in third grade, I believe. I had like a speech therapist, and she came up with this cool idea because I had these stories that I would tell her. She's like, well, instead of me sitting here listening to you talk about these stories, why don't, she had like a laptop, this is back in the 90s, so that was like, whoa, this is cool. And that laptop was wicked fun to use, and I got to type things out, and then she had this cool method of taking pieces of textured wallpaper and using like some kind of white cardboard or something, and using that as like a binding, and then stapling the pages in, and I got to do the drawings for because it wasn't that long of a book, but I think the first one was about like my weekends hanging out with my cousin or something, and about my parents, I think, is another one. So I've found a use for all these things, and I still feel like it's really only something I'm building towards. Now I've stepped into my role as a minister, and that I'm taking some time to develop. I'm going to have business cards and stuff ready this year at some point. I'm going to find a way to do that. Of course, you can't always, right as I was planning on creating and releasing business stuff for the ministry, well, wouldn't you know it, I had car troubles. So just been dealing with that and some family stuff. So it takes time, one of the things I've had to learn is patience, and that came more from doing working with my hands, doing craft work stuff. So learning some of the artisan trades, but I'm not some things I'm like natural in, and some things I have to try harder with, and that's the fun part. But I think that life is all about making smooth transitions. Making smooth transitions through life is just it's the cherry on top that we need. It's something to help us get through, because we all need help in different ways. But I've had to find patience and acceptance for certain things, and right now I feel I had to let go of that feeling of being tested or something by life or the universe, and I just had to let go, and I find myself not wanting to worry about things I can't control. I remember when I was younger, my mother used to bring me to her AA meetings, and that's not really something to brag about either way, but I learned a lot And I mean, I didn't have my first drink till I was almost 18, so it did help there, where I thought about, partying and stuff at a young age and consequences and things like that. So I could have maybe self-censored myself. Maybe I could have experienced more, by that time. But maybe there's no shame in being a late bloomer or whatever. I'm not wearing bloomers. What does that word even mean? Old English. But yeah, I remember that prayer they would say, accept the things that I cannot change, or some shit like that. And I found, I find myself practicing that in different ways, and I know that's helping with other things in my life as well. So I have to say that, especially what got me further away from music in a lot of ways, and different things, like I've dabbled in stand-up comedy, and I plan to do more of it as I get older. It's more something like music that you gotta have a certain amount of time, and while my kids are too young right now for me to just kind of do my own thing, I'm focusing on my time on that, and I've got a lot of things written in so many different categories of my interest that when the time comes, when it's time to get back into that lifestyle of gigging and doing things like that again, and doing a little more traveling, then it'll be interesting to see, because I have all this material ready and things that I'm working on, practicing. As Tesla said, solitude is where you make your greatest discoveries. So sometimes it's hard to sacrifice friends and stuff, and time, but in the end, that's what you have to do. And you'll find there is enough time, because when you spend time with other people, you'll enjoy it more because of the time you spent working on your craft. And I just find it hard being a creative person in a society that focuses mostly on sales and facilitating inebriation. I get that people gotta make money and stuff, but I go out to see like a band, like a local gig or something, and it's like, if you don't imbibe, you kind of feel stale, you kind of feel left out. I don't mind having a casual drink, but there's it's like there's a certain limit. I think also our bodies, they say every 7 years the cells of our body change, and I've noticed about within that time frame, I constantly feel like there's some biological change that I have to attend to. I have to focus on, so that I don't freaking overdo it. Moderation in all things, that they say. But I just don't like the way that society focuses on that stuff. It kind of disheartens my soul, and I know that that's why I got into doing, like, say, the ministry stuff, because as I get older, and maybe even more getting towards comedy and things, finding unique ways to make money on my own merit, not working for somebody or an idea of something else, or for the profit of something, but doing it for the love of doing it, and being able to just make enough to survive a little extra, and provide for my family. That's all I really need. I don't need to start a dynasty or something. So I say to you and myself, don't give up on your curiosity and what you enjoy, because you'll benefit from using your talents, even if you don't see a monetary response right away. You're still developing your character as an individual, and that's your true currency, because you can go and apply for any job, but if you don't have enough experience as a person, as a human in humanity, you're gonna be lacking. And when I think of things like this, it reminds me of my grandfather on my father's side. Back in the 50s, he had his own radio, and at one time, like, television show, and he was into news and broadcasting. And he used to play piano and, talk about the news and have an intro and things that we see now. It was like this is the 50s, before the concept of podcast was even a thing. But if my grandfather had stuck it out in that business, maybe he would have kind of invented the podcast or something, or been a part of people that would have forged a way into different types of media before. Imagine if we had podcasts in some form. There was a lot of radio stuff. That was what they had, but because podcasts are mainly used for internet stuff. But what I mean is something that focuses on, he could have been like an Earl Nightingale and had a program where he gave advice and things. He was a very wise type of person, very kind of a loner, but was great with people. And the one sad thing is that he would hold a lot of his hurt inside, and I realize now as I'm older that I've learned to not let those kind of things eat you away, because that, to me, when you let your mind think and feel those ways, you bring in certain frequencies, and those frequencies affect your cells, and that I feel played a huge part in stress and what led to his illnesses later on, unfortunately, and that and some other factors as well. But we all make choices, and he left radio to get into business, and he owned a bunch of properties with people from this, the area that they were living in at the time in Western Massachusetts. And what ended up happening was there was a point where they wanted to make one of the earlier malls. This is in the 60s or 70s, and my grandfather's idea was similar to what was burgeoning more on the West Coast. He said, why don't we do like a strip mall where you have just the center is a parking lot and just have just a square of businesses. And they said, I know you're crazy, like we're gonna build one building and stuff everybody inside. And that, and I don't know much about the West Coast, but here on the East Coast we had malls for a long time. I know there's malls out there, but the strip mall was more or less invented out west, from what I've been told, but I could be wrong. But yet again, my grandfather was ahead of his time, and I think that if he had stayed in radio, he would have been maybe more independent, because his business he was very successful in for years, but because of some shady dealings with people that his associates kind of got him into some shit, and he was never able to recover. So it's a real bummer, the potential we have, but that need to make security for a family. He had kids to support, and I get it. He made the decision he felt was necessary for the time. But it's sad when I was talking to my aunt about it recently, and she said how he said that when he got out of radio, he said, there's no future in it. Like TV's, burgeoning. People aren't going to care about the radio the way they used to. But who is anyone to know that the internet would come along and things like podcasts would be invented and stuff. So I believe that we artists, we creative people, and that's everybody, no matter what you do, you're an artist, you're a creative person. Every day you wake up, you get to create your life. You get to try to get a better foundation to make different changes, maybe get out of a job you don't like, or just, move your hobby or your passion forward a little bit. And I say that the artists, we're always ahead of society. Society is in the past. Society's always living in the past. It's like they talk about people in Japan still wearing leg warmers and shit. You just gotta be patient with yourself. Be patient with time. Be patient with what you love. And what you put into things is what you will get back. And it is all about just achieving the right mindset. So be you, be true. I'll talk to you soon. This is Matthyw Myth signing off. Thanks for tuning in.